along and offered a sense of hope. You know, when a teenager went out and saw these parties, these block parties, and people having fun and breakdancing and stuff, he thought, man, those people look like me. You know, they're creating this new thing, and they look like me, they talk like me. Well, I know that one dude, his family's house burned down just like my family's house burned down. These people, these are me right here. And so they started, and there was cliques in that too, and there was violence in that too, but at least it was a sense of belonging now. Like, okay, now these are my people. There's some creativity going on. It's a breath of fresh air for me. And hip hop just kind of embraced them, opened the arms to the young people and embraced them. They felt unity and pride, and they even had a way to speak to one another, a slang type of language that they could understand and relate to. And Jesus comes and Christianity comes in much of the same way, bringing this sense of hope. Here are these Jews that are kind of the outskirts of society, and here comes Jesus. Oh, is this the Savior that they've been telling me about? He looks just like me. He's dirty and poor, just like I am. He's talking in a language that I can relate to. He's speaking this slang, these parables, these stories that I find meaning in, that I can understand. He's saying things I can understand. Here's this Jesus that looks like me and acts like me, talks like me, and lives with me. There's a sense of belonging now, and I don't have to be somebody to follow this Jesus. He's just a cool dude like that. He hangs out with these tax collectors and these sinners, and I don't have to be somebody to be around him. I can just hang out with him just as I am. And one of the reasons young people from hip-hop's beginning stages, why young people, I think, are so drawn to it, is because it doesn't judge them. It just opens its arm and welcomes them. So a teenager that, you know, doesn't fit in at home, because what teenager does fit in at home? Parents never understand it, right? I mean, it's just the way of life, right? Even if you're the best parent ever, teenagers are always going to wild out and think, my parent doesn't understand. And it doesn't fit in at school maybe, and oftentimes in church culture, I've seen many churches make you know, you have to conform, you have to believe certain things first, and dress in certain ways, and behave in certain ways before you're accepted into that culture. So for a young cat, like, hip-hop welcomes them just as they are. And that's refreshing for a lot of young people. Like, I don't have to put on I can be just who I am and feel like I'm a part of something. And I have to feel like I have to be somebody I'm not. And so hip-hop welcomes young people like that. And oftentimes, what I think one of the reasons why church and hip-hop has butted heads over the years is oftentimes in church culture is that we kind of live in this Christian bubble where we think we have to be separate from the world. But Christ never said be separate from the world. He said he came and lived in the world with grimy, sinful people. He said just be of a different world while you're living in this world. And so we lose touch of that sometimes within, you know, certain Christian circles and certain church circles. And so our call for young people is to embrace young people and love young people. And that's what I think how the church, if the church responded like that in the 70s and 80s, would have been a lot better off. If the church would have embraced hip-hop and welcomed it and served it and said, hey, we love you. We love your crazy style that you have, and you're welcome here. We love you, and embraced it. But oftentimes, what we don't understand, we cast more fear on it. So oftentimes, oh, don't listen to that rapper. All that rap, they're going to eat your kids. Don't listen to this. Just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And just now, towards the late 90s and now into the, I don't know what you call these years, '07. Now what you have churches that are welcoming it now and discipling it and saying, hey, here's some things that are not very good about your culture, but now they can do it because they have accepted the culture and have loved on it, and they can help and disciple it in that way. And it's kind of funny that it's happened now that hip-hop has reached its peak and now it's declining in sales, but the church is always slow. We're always slow. I don't know what it is about us. We're always slow and behind on things. But at least we are accepting more of hip-hop culture and embracing it and showing it love. And so the church it came about, Christ came about in a sense of hopelessness and brought this sense of hope. And hip-hop came about in this sense of hopelessness and brought this hope. And then both hip hop and Christianity experienced these exciting years of expanding, and these just fun, exciting years. In hip hop in the 80s, you saw a lot of positive messages going on. You saw a lot of unifying themes. A lot of rappers got their first label, their first deal. Curtis Blow got the first major label, and he's out there rapping about Christmas and basketball. And Run DMC later on gets endorsed by Adidas, so now they're getting endorsed by this shoe company, and there's a lot of excitement going on in hip hop, and there's still a lot of positive vibes going on. And the men back then in the 80s in the music, oftentimes the men, as Brother Rodney Coates pointed out to us a while ago, that the men were referred to as men, or black men, or kings. Just a lot of integrity in the music. And the women were queens or sisters, and there was a lot of respect going on. And now it's different. Now the women are referred to as names I don't like saying at all, so I won't. And the men are referred to as words I don't like to say either, so I won't. And so a lot has changed. But during the 80s, man, things were, fun and a little bit more lighter, and there was a lot more integrity and respect in the music. And then in Christianity, likewise, there was a lot of excitement going on. Peter and Paul were going out telling people about Christ. They were getting locked up and having fun doing it, like, yeah, lock me up. I'll sing my way out of here, praise my way out of here, it's whatever. And so there was a lot of excitement going on, and they were loving each other and serving and starting these new communities where people lived differently. People lived peculiar. They served one another and loved each other. And in Acts chapter 2, verse 42, it says this: "And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all, as any had need. And day by day, attending to the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved." So you had these formative years of Christianity, and the church was forming on a concept of serving others, on this Christ concept of service. And Peter and Paul were going out and serving people and showing them how to serve people. So you had these exciting, positive years of expansion. And then hip hop and Christianity experienced some years of major pollution.